Welcome to Are We Gonna Talk About It with Ty
and Taryn. It is a space where we have candid conversations surrounding
faith, marriage,
family, and ministry.
Here we go.
Let's talk
Let's
about
talk.
it right now.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hold on, let me get a sip of water.
Go ahead, go for it, because we got some juicy conversation today.
Ooh.
Welcome to Are We Gonna Talk About It with Ty.
And Taryn.
I'm glad that you guys decided to tune in today.
Thank you.
Whether you're streaming from a podcast site, whether you are watching this on YouTube, or some of y'all who just been catching snippets on IG.
Hello.
Hopefully y'all able to subscribe.
Yeah, hop
Hit
on
the
over.
bell.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that you can get notifications right when these new episodes come through.
Mm-hmm.
So how you doing again?
I am doing good. I'm feeling great. Feeling a little
Feeling good. Feeling great.
energized.
What got you feeling energized?
Just honoring rest and
Okay. Who is rest?
honoring-
Who is that?
honoring rest.
Who is rest?
Honoring
Introduce
and
me.
giving-
Introduce me to
You
your little
know who
friend.
rest is.
Gosh.
I just this week I there were moments where I felt overwhelmed with just
Yeah.
different things that I had to take care of. But I tell y'all what, like, the Lord is so good. The Lord is so kind. If you could just stop yourself in those moments where you feel like the to-do list is just beating up over you or on your mind and all of that, like, if you could just stop yourself in that moment and just simply ask for God's grace.
Yes,
He
Lord.
He will meet you there and give you what you need and help you to get what you need to get.
Make the
taken care
to-do
of.
list a to-rest list.
To rest list. And so I guess when I say honoring rest, honoring or being able to rest in God
Yeah,
with
definitely.
the things that I have going on. And so, yeah, being able to do that has been refreshing for me this week and allowed me to be productive. So
That's cool.
What about you? How you doing?
I'm feeling really good. This week I've decided to take a little break from social media, and it's been refreshing.
That's
so just
great.
like you said, having
decided
that
to follow
rest.
Jesus.
Yes.
I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back.
I decided, and it wasn't even anything crazy that happened, or just like I'm inundated with so much information, or what I mean, it wasn't even anything like that, but just like I wanted a break for myself, just to kind of refresh, reset, even to be able to spend more time with God. Man, it's amazing, like, what happens, like how much time. I ain't gonna talk about you. I ain't talk about y'all either. I'm just talk about me. It's interesting, like when you take a break from social media, or if you decide to take a break from the refresh, you don't realize how much you were on it until you get away from
you
it.
Pull away from it,
Because you know that feeling, like when you pick up your phone and you got like maybe 2 minutes, you waiting for the kids to put their shoes on to walk out the door. You pull up your phone and just automatically your fingers go to IG. You pull up, I think you said this a couple weeks ago, like you're pulling up an email, or maybe you got to respond to something and your finger just goes to Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or whatever it is. But like just automatically it just happens. And so this week I said I wasn't going to, and then automatically my fingers go to it. But then I catch myself like, let me be productive in this 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you know what happens, man. You jump on there for 1 minute just to check some messages, and then you get sucked in, and it's 20 minutes later. And so I've substituted.
Didn't do what you needed to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you're exhausted mentally because you've given so much time and attention to that. You're like,
to everything else.
It drains you.
Yeah. And so I've been productive. I've been taking that 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes to be productive.
Good.
Right. And it's been great.
Yay.
It's been great.
Man, that's amazing, because I do that from time to time. And actually I did it this week along with you. But just like, well, not with you, but we it's funny how we both just said, hey, this is what I'm planning to like fast from this week, and you said the same thing. And so I just know God is just all in the details of that and what he's doing in us. But it's just, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but I feel like what happens in those moments is just like, where you're about to go and click on something, or IG or Facebook, whatever it is, whatever your social media platform of choice is. Yeah. But you go and then you stop yourself, because we've trained our brain so much to do that. I feel like when we're able to pull back and discipline ourselves, it creates, and I think I've heard this before, Y'all gonna have to go and dig and get the depths of what I'm saying, but we can create different paths in our brain. Mm-hmm. In our I don't know if it's our nervous system or something, but when we're so on a routine with things, and habits and things, it's just like we train our brain that way, but we can actually train our brains to do things differently.
Neurological paths.
Yeah,
I'm making that up. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I would imagine that it's something along those lines.
Yeah, and I can't think of her name, who talks a lot about the brain, but she's a Christian woman, but she is a neurological scientist, I believe. Yeah. And she talks about like retraining your brain and reframing, different things. So that's what happens, I think, in those moments when we pull back and we can just kind of readjust our routine. Our brain is just like, wait, what's going on?
I think you said it, like with that discipline, that discipline part. Like, it's like in psychology, Pavlov's law, where they ring the bell and dog comes, they bring the food, and then over time the dog starts to salivate when he hears the bell because he associates it with food. And so like, I do not have my social media messages coming directly to my phone.
My notifications are not on,
because I know how I am with my emails and with my text messages. Those are the only notifications I have coming to my phone, calendar stuff.
Yeah.
And I know anytime my phone is like away from me and I hear the text message alert go off, immediately I feel like I have to reply. I have to see who texts me. It might be an emergency. It might be something I need. It might be, you know what I mean? And so for me, I'm like, okay, even having that discipline, the email notification, the text message notification, be like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to get to it. Once I get done with this, then I'll get to that. So even for social media, we didn't leave y'all high and dry this week. Y'all still got an episode.
We jumped in.
We jumped in and we jumped out.
And jumped out.
Right? Because I know like if I stay in there too long, I'm going to start digging through the messages or the replies or the comments and all of that.
And that's going to turn into like,
and so that was the discipline of it. It was almost like you go into social media and like, it's like ding, ding, boom, boom, boom. Like, and you start hearing all the sounds in your head when you see all the alerts, feeling like you got to see everything. But I was just like, I saw, hey, we got missed this, that, and the other, but nope, I'm not digging into it.
Yeah.
Post this. It's up there. Hopefully people feed on it.
Peace.
Yeah. So even now, at the time of this recording, I have no idea, people respond. Yeah, like we missed that Tina Turner pass.
Yeah. I had to find that out from my family group text that she passed away. And that was one of the things I had just told him. I was like, if we pull away from that, like I said, when you get off social media, you kind of miss what's going on. Like you don't know what's going on. We don't watch a lot of TV or news or anything.
Yep.
So we didn't know. Then I got a text message and I was like, did you know that? And I was like, so that's one of those things that you just miss because you're not on social media.
But at the same time, just like you said, it's so refreshing. It is so refreshing because I don't even feel a tug or a pull like, oh, I'm missing something. Oh, I can't wait to get back on. Oh, I can't wait to check my messages. I don't even feel that. It's just like, man, I've been enjoying this reboot, this refresh. Yeah. And even my relationship with God, I feel like has been strengthened.
That's good.
Because now I've been committing him that time. Like that alert that would go off like social media, let me check my messages. Instead, that alert has turned into, all right, let me read. Like, let me find a scripture. All right, let me pray. Like, all right, let me commit that. Let me substitute that time. And that's essentially what fasting is.
Ta-da.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Giving it to you in a plain and simple format.
I don't know what that thing is for you, but if the Lord is impressing something on your heart,
absolutely.
For this upcoming week, tune into what he wants to say and what he is pressing on your heart to give up for some time.
Absolutely.
It'll be good.
Definitely.
Right.
Listen, I want to get into this conversational topic today because I feel like this is going to get really juicy and really good. Okay. I feel like there may even be some controversial things that we want to talk about, some things that people might agree, some things that people may not agree. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about conversation is that even if y'all don't agree with the stuff that we're going to talk about, if it works for you, then that is great. Yeah. If it don't work for you, then share some things that do.
Yeah.
But we just want to talk about some things today that I think is really good, has been good for us, and that may be good for you. Hopefully you'll get some things from it.
What we're talking about
today, we are going to talk about things that we put in place to safeguard our marriage.
Safeguard our marriage. You mean our marriage has to be guarded?
Absolutely.
I'm talking. I'm safeguarded.
Listen,
but I'm an adult. Like, really? Like, I'm a grown person.
Here's the thing, and so are so many people who are getting divorces and experiencing infidelity and cheating and lying and stepping out and deception and all of that. This is where my heart breaks for marriages. Every time I hear or I get news about somebody being unfaithful, and not just a divorce. Like, a divorce is bad. A divorce is ugly. A divorce hurts. But especially when the divorce is that somebody was unfaithful. That breaks my heart every single time. And here's the thing. Before I got married, and I just want to put this in context, before I got married, it was like, and if I could be honest, before I got married, it was, how in the world would you want to step out on your spouse? Like, somebody you've committed to, somebody you love, especially, if I'm being honest, especially when I see men who have beautiful wives. And it's just like, how could you want anything else? Until I got married. And once I got married, I was just like, I can absolutely see how somebody could step out if they have not established some of these safeguards. That's a nice little segue.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's jump into it. But that is the truth. That is the truth. Like, that is real. And it's not just for the men. It's also for the women. Like,
absolutely.
You know, because you do have women who have stepped out on their marriage as well. But, like, being able to safeguard and set up these things that we're going to talk about today, I think, you know, even if something has happened in your marriage, you know, you can still bounce back and reestablish some things. So tune in, and let's perk up our ears to hear this today.
So I think one of the things that has helped us in our marriage with safeguarding, with keeping things together, has been what I've heard referred to as being hot, humble, open, and transparent. Yep. All of them. All three of them. Because the humility aspect is, I am not too prideful to say, babe, I need you. Like, look, I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all over the place right now. It's been however long since we have, I need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is humble. It takes pure humility to say that, and not feeling like, well, why don't she ever initiate? Why don't she ever? Why don't he ever, you know, take me out? Why don't he romance me? Why don't, you know what I mean? Like, it can go both ways, but being humble and saying, look, this is what I need. Being open to be able to be like, bro, my feelings might get hurt when I say this, but I'm gonna just put myself out there. You know what I mean? Good. Like, I pursued my wife and she denied me for whatever reason. She was tired. She had a lot going on, whatever. Can I put myself out there again? Even in I know people don't think about it like in marriage, like, how can you, in a healthy marriage, how can you really be hurt? But, you pursue your spouse and they turn you down. That hurts a little bit, and then being transparent, just being able to talk through our situations. Like, man, the other night that hurt my feelings. Yeah. When you said no, like that hurt my feelings. Or when you, like whatever the case is, but being able to be humble, open, and transparent about everything. Wow. That's one of the really good ones. I think that has really helped us. Yes. Kind of navigate some of those things. Yes. How do you feel about getting late night text messages or phone calls? Like, whether it's my phone going off at like 11:30 at night, or if yours goes off, what you think I might be feeling a thing. Like, how do you feel about those type of situations?
I feel like, okay, I can only speak for us in our marriage. We have established trust between one another that's very solid, so that when your phone does go off, because that has happened, it's not like I'm trying to peep over your shoulder to ask who it is, even though I may ask like, is everything okay? I ask from a different perspective, not because I feel insecure or I think that you're having late night conversations with somebody or anything like that. It's more of like, whoa, yo, what's going on? Who's texting? You know, like, we need to, is there something that we need to pray about, especially because we're pastors. I understand the role and the assignment that we have as well. You may get those late night text messages and phone calls, that's and that's just something that we have committed to do in our life. But I do also understand and see the other side with when the trust has been broken. And somebody, whichever spouse, broke that trust and their phone goes off. I don't feel like it's wrong for the other person to inquire or ask. I think it's a way to do it. But I think even before it gets to that point, it already should have been a conversation that happened to reassure and to establish accountability. So if you are the one who, stepped out or did something that broke the
then
trust,
you almost have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to restore that,
right? To put that person at ease, because they may. It's gonna take it takes time for a person to get over something when the trust has been broken and when they have been hurt by you. So it's just like you need to honor that and take responsibility to just say, hey, that was just this person. Like, I know you think you're grown. You feel like, well, I shouldn't have to tell you that. Or I told you that one time, so you should know. But it's just like, no, how willing are you to make this thing work to assure that person? Now, it's another thing on the other side for the person who did get their heart broken. Like, you still have a responsibility too, because you can't be nagging. If you say, all right, I'm going to stick with you, I'm going to be in this thing with you, then that means that you still have to reconcile some things even within your own heart. You chose to stay there. Yeah. So you need to make sure that.
And you got to remain open too.
You got to remain open
because
it
may need to be another conversation that you have in your transparency and openness for you to say, hey, I told you that I let this go, but if I'm being completely honest, I really haven't.
I'm still struggling
so you're going to have to be patient with me too, because I want to completely forgive you. And I'm really, really trying, but I just haven't yet. So you be patient with me. I'm being patient with you. Yeah. You be patient with me as well. Yeah. You mentioned the part about us being pastors. And so, one of the things that I think that has helped us even with pastoring. Well, first, let me say this. As pastors, obviously, there are people who might come to me as the senior pastor, as the lead pastor, to say, Pastor Ty, I need you to pray for me. Pastor Ty, this is what's going on in my situation. It might even be a female that comes to me about her husband. You know what I'm saying? And so those are very intricate and very sensitive situations where obviously, for me, I would defer or refer people to you and say, hey, this is a good question for my wife. This is something you might need to talk to about her.
Or you would include me
or
in
including us, including us both in the conversation so that they can get what they need, but not allowing myself to become isolated. And that's just wisdom. Yeah. Not allowing myself to become isolated, setting up a one-on-one meeting with somebody else's wife, or even with somebody with a female that is single, or in your end as well, a one-on-one situation where they can walk away from that conversation and pretty much my word against theirs, what was said or what happened in that room. And that's part of that accountability bit, and not feeling like, oh, I'm grown, like, like I know nothing happened, but having that accountability to know if it ever becomes my word against their word, I at least got somebody else who's been included in the process the whole time. Yeah. That can give me, that can vouch for me. Yeah. And what was said and what happened. I feel like one of the tricky things is inappropriate conversations. I feel like that can get kind of tricky.
Yeah. Because, what do you mean by inappropriate?
Because you may not necessarily know where the line is of where something could be inappropriate, or where it is, this is innocent. And I'm not even talking about flirting, but it just could be, it could be something as simple as a touch or a gesture. Like what makes this okay and this inappropriate? Like if I'm touching you on your back, what makes that okay and that inappropriate? Even a hug, you know what I mean? Or if it's a text message checking up on somebody. And one of the things that I know that we have talked about, a while back, how to be able to distinguish between what is inappropriate and what's not inappropriate. And that is, at least I feel, and you can answer to this, or even you guys listening, you guys can drop in the comments your thoughts on it as well. But if it's something that I do when my spouse is absent, that I would not do if my spouse was present, I feel like that's is considered inappropriate.
And I would agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's hard for me to go as far as to say that you are cheating. That could have a whole nother definition. But it is absolutely inappropriate. If so, let me be clear. If it is, you know what, I wouldn't normally hug this person if my wife was present, but my wife is not here, so I can go ahead and embrace them. Yeah. I feel like that's inappropriate. Yeah. If you wouldn't do it when your wife is here. Yeah. You know what I mean? I if my wife was here, I wouldn't be, sitting there holding their hand, or I wouldn't put my hand on their lap or their arm or their back or their shoulder. You know what I mean? Or even like extended eye contact or getting, in close proximity. But because they're not here, I'm gonna do it. I feel like that's inappropriate.
Yeah. If like, say for example, because we see this is so funny. Like, we see this often where we're out somewhere and a group of guys might be like walking, and then a girl walks by, and then all of a sudden you see the guy's neck turn, and so
it happens every time.
I don't know in most cases if those guys are married, but what if they are? Like, you're not gonna do that when your wife is walking with you. Right. You ain't gonna turn your whole head.
So it's inappropriate.
So that's inappropriate.
It's very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Text message. So if I'm sending messages or even replying to an email or even on social media,
yeah.
Comments, chat, DMs, inbox, all of that. If my wife saw this message, if my husband if my spouse saw this message, would they think it's inappropriate? If so, then it probably is.
Yeah.
Like if you were to, by the way, and this is probably another, at least an intro into another way that we safeguard. If you were to go on my social media account and look through my DMs, is there anything in there that I'd be like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is there anything in there that my wife would be like, bro, you got some explaining to do? I ain't talking about somebody sliding in your DMs. I'm talking about stuff you sending out. I'm talking about things that you're entertaining. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're not at fault for sliding in your DMs. Like, people don't care if you married. Yeah. People don't care if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend. People don't care if you're single. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
But it's not about what they did. It's about your response. Like, did you entertain it? Like, did somebody slide in your DMs like, bro, are you happy in your marriage?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then you reply like, I mean, like, we have different problems or whatever. Like, nah, bro. Like, why are you even entertaining?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody shoot their shot. If you know what I mean, depending on your response, you leaving the door open or you closing it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we have established is just like, if I feel like if you were to see it, and not that you would, but if you were to see it, how would you feel about it? Can you speak to maybe like why you don't, or why you allow me to know your password on your phone?
Because I trust you. Yeah, I trust you. I don't have anything like to hide. I honor and I value our marriage and what we have. And yeah, I think it's just being able to trust you and knowing that you trust me.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I don't have anything to hide. Like, why? We're, I think that is childish, where you feel like you got to have a lock on your phone from your spouse.
Oh, that's tough.
The person that you're supposed to be one flesh
with. You said
with.
I feel like it's childish.
That's childish.
That's big.
Now, I can't speak because I don't know. Everybody got different situations, but it would just be it would have to be bizarre for me to say, well, I don't trust Ty to go in my phone because he might do something. Like, that would be my thought process with it. Is just like, well, let me put this password on, not because I'm trying to hide something from him. I'm trying to keep him from doing something damaging to me. Yeah. That's an issue. I mean, that's the only way I can really understand, why, okay, I don't want my spouse to know my password to my phone. Yeah,
and I do think that there are other situations. Well, Well, let me say this. I think there's a difference between having a lock on your phone and your spouse not knowing the passcode to your phone.
Yeah.
Because you can have a passcode on your phone.
Yeah, I have a lock on my phone.
Yeah, so like if a message pops up, it won't show the message. Like, I mean, you can program or adjust the settings so that people can't see the messages unless they unlock your phone.
Yeah.
Right? So I get it. Like, you can have a lock, they can know the passcode, and messages pop up, and they still don't see it because they've not unlocked it. But they won't because they like, that's your phone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, to have a lock and they don't know the passcode, I would have questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers, and I know people gonna feel a certain kind of way about it.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with your spouse. Like, I mean, I got stuff I don't want them to see. That don't mean that I got trust issues.
Yeah. Well, some people, they put the lock on because the person does have trust issues. So they know that
it could be on the other side too.
Sneaking in my phone and they trying to find something on me. They find, but if you ain't got nothing to hide, then.
But that's still a sign. Yeah. And I would have questions because then, and I'm talking about your spouse. I ain't talking about boyfriend girlfriend situation. Right. That's out the door. Yeah. Like, I definitely would not. You wouldn't have my passcode on my boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah.
If you do, that's whatever. But like, I'm talking about your spouse.
Yeah.
My extended family don't have my passcode to my phone. My parents don't have my passcode to my phone.
But it's the person that you live with, the person that you sleep in the same bed with, the person that you are intimate with.
So all I'm saying with that is that I would have questions like, are there some things that we need to talk through and walk through?
Yeah.
Or maybe, and I'll even say this in all humility. If there's something that we are not considering in this conversation, please feel free.
Enlighten us.
Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the comments below. And I'm a humble guy. At least I would like to believe that I am. Like, I'm not. I'm not super prideful. Like, I'd be more than happy to say, man, you know what? That's an absolutely good point, man. Thank you for shedding light. But I think I would absolutely have some questions. You know, if your spouse didn't. Now, I will say this though. With you knowing the passcode to my phone, I trust you with that. But it's also because you've proven yourself to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
I know that if you say, hey, babe, can I grab the picture? Oh, that's another one.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's another one.
Because I do that sometimes. I'll be like, hey, let me go in there
and let me grab it. And I ain't even going to lie. Like, there's been moments when you said, hey, can I grab that picture that you took earlier today? And I got to think, like, do I got
anything incriminating in there?
Now, I absolutely know.
I got a selfie of myself?
Yeah, like some weird stuff. Like, I don't know. But I don't. But I'm just saying, like, but sometimes I'm like, do I got anything self-incriminating in there? But it's... So I even consider, like, with, if it's just friends or even family and I'm trying to show them pictures from a trip, I got to think, like, do I got anything? I know that's a little bit different, but but in my case, I more so be thinking, like, do I have anything of her or us in my phone? Oh, we messing some people up with this one right here. That's where my mind goes. It's not like, dang, are they going to see some stuff that be like, bro, he been hiding something. You know what I mean? But that's more so kind of where my mind goes with that. What was you about to say?
I think I can't even remember what I was going to say with that. We'll come back to it. Yeah, we'll come back to it.
We'll jump to the next one. But yes, but I don't have a problem because you've proven yourself to be trustworthy. And so if you say, hey, I need to go on your phone, I know that you're not going to say, all right, well, since I'm in here, let me check his IG. Let me check his inbox. Let me check his emails. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking that because that's what she said she was going in there to do. And I think that's sometimes the small things that people don't think about, how trust is violated.
Yeah.
You told me you weren't going to go through my phone, but you did.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I got to lock my phone because...
why are you going through my phone?
Yeah. Or you told me, hey, let me see your phone and go through your pictures. But when I came over there, you was going through my emails. Like, that creates trust issues because you didn't do what you said that you were going to do.
Yeah.
But over time, once you've proven yourself to be consistent and faithful, I went in there. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. You know, you said, hey, babe, can you go in my drawer and grab XYZ? I went in there. I grabbed it. I ain't go rummaging through your drawers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you even know what's in my drawer?
No. Maybe.
Everybody got a drawer that they got random stuff in.
Yeah.
Just random stuff.
I've probably been in it like once or twice looking for something.
You don't even really know what's in there. I don't know what's in yours either because we've established that. But if I needed to go in there, it's been moments where I said, hey, you got some Tylenol? Yeah, it's in my purse. Mm-hmm. She want me to go in her purse and get this Tylenol? I don't want to go in her.
But that's what we have cultivated here. You know, we've cultivated just being able to trust. And
this ain't happening overnight.
It's not an overnight process. You build trust.
This happened actually during the dating process.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have married you if I couldn't trust you.
Right. Likewise.
But even once we got married, it was still a process. Yeah. You know what I mean? Of that trust.
Yeah. And our trust, I guess, where we are now, it's yes, we still are building on trust in our marriage, but I think it's more for like trusting like vision, goals, leadership, where we're going, where we're headed, and being able to trust one another with supporting each other in that way with things like that. It's not like some of the stuff, which I understand everybody is at a different level in marriage. And so we're not trying to put ourselves on a platform to
Absolutely
say,
not.
oh, we just trust each other with everything. No, we still have to have conversations about other areas where
humble,
we might,
open, and transparent.
Yeah, about, trust and things like that.
So I'll say this before I get into one of the other juicy topics about this. And that's the thing about being humble, open, and transparent. It's not just one conversation.
Yeah.
This is something that happens on a regular and on a consistent basis. And that's one of the things I think that also safeguards our marriage, is because anytime something, and I said this a little bit at the beginning, but anytime something comes up or I feel a certain kind of way, like, and we need to have a conversation, we have those conversations.
Yeah.
As opposed to putting it off. And now I find myself in a situation where I'm looking at my laptop or I'm looking at my phone off in a corner somewhere, trying to catch a vibe. You know what I mean? Trying to get my feels off of something online because I feel like I'm not getting it from my spouse.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? But instead of allowing it to escalate there, let's have those conversations.
So would it be, or can we say with that, like, we want to be able to trust and have accountability with each other, but what's most important is you do it not because of only me, but because you are accountable to God.
Absolutely.
And you want to show God that you can be trusted as well. And so I think we have to, we can't talk about this unless we do acknowledge that accountability first starts with God. Are you even accountable to him? Because then if not, you're going to struggle with being accountable to mere humans. Like, you have to acknowledge that,
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I've said it several times before, but I'll say it again, that the only reason I am able to love you is because I love God.
So he's a safeguard.
He is the safeguard. Like, I didn't teach myself love. He is love. Yeah. And so if I don't know him to be love, or I don't know him as love for myself, then I really am just trying to figure out what is love for you, or creating my own definition of what I think that love is. Well, I'm going to give her tough love today.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? No, that's not how God doesn't give us tough love.
Yeah.
He loved us while we are yet sinners. Like, while we are spitting in his face, he's like, bro, I still love you.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And so for our marriage, it's like, I do not like her today. I'm not feeling her today.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around her today. Yes, I
real.
love her, but I don't like her.
Y'all don't be trying to act like that stuff ain't real.
Yes, it is.
Be real sometimes.
But when you love somebody like God loves you, which is what the Bible tells us to do, where he says, I give you a new command to love your neighbor as I have loved you. You know what I mean? Then we're extending the love to them. Don't let me get into the whole, husbands love your wives and wives submit to and honor and respect your husbands. But this is as Christ loved the church. Like, it is a model of how Christ loved the church.
Right.
And so if he was willing to commit himself to die for the church, to forgive the church, to have mercy for, to have grace for, that's an example of how we're supposed to love each other.
Yeah.
So that's the model. So if you don't have an example of real love, right?
Yeah, never been taught.
So obviously we understand that it is God who is love. But even on a more practical level for people to understand, even if you're the person who says, man, you know what? I never had an example of a good marriage in front of me. So it's like, I'm pretty much just making this up as I go. But when you have a good example, you at least have a standard, a platform, a template to say, this is what I saw, this is what I experienced.
Right.
So let me try to duplicate that. Yeah. And obviously God being the best thing of love, but then seeing those natural examples of it to be able to say, all right, this is what I saw, so let me try to reproduce this.
Or the opposite. If you've seen the bad examples of marriage,
then this is what I am not going to do.
This is what I'm not going to do. So,
absolutely.
You know, I think that's all really good. You know, to
consider.
Listen,
so I think this is one of the juicy ones too, and I know this one is going a little bit longer than others, but I know it's good though. What do you say to people who do or don't share their spouse on social media? Because, and I'll preface it by saying this: you got people that say, we've seen both sides, kind of, where people for us is just like, oh, you always share, you always share, you always share, you always share. But then there's other people who are just like, they don't ever. So you got people who are just like, oh, why? You know, we tired of seeing all of this. You know, oh yeah, we know you love your spouse. We know you went on your date night. We know you love each other. We know you being okay. All right, that's too much. But then the other side where people are just like, bro, why don't you ever say anything about your spouse? Like, bro, you out here trying to.
That's, you know, I think everybody has different reasons why they may or may not. It could be where the spouse does not want to be on social media.
That's a very good point that a lot of people don't consider.
That, you know, the person is utilizing their page for business purposes. And so, because I think I recently saw one lady, she was just like, I am married. She's like, I don't really show my family and I have kids, but I don't show this side because this is my business.
You don't bring your spouse to your job.
Yeah, you don't bring your spouse to your job. So I get it. I think what's most important is the heart of that person and why they may or may not share. And then, of course, having that conversation with their spouse to say, okay, I'm not. This is, you know, or the spouse may be like, I don't want you to put me on there. I don't really care to be on there. You know, so just respecting them in what they desire as well. But it really comes down to the heart of that person who has that page and the reason why they may or may not share. Yeah. So even for the people who that's all they do is just share their spouse and I love my spouse and da. It's just like, that could be pride as well. You know, not to say that it always is, but that could be something, you know, you probably got a heart issue with that. If you feel like your validation comes from that and that alone.
Definitely.
So all I'm saying is just like, we can't really put a label on what is or what isn't when a person shares or doesn't share. It's just like, you know, everybody has different things in their heart and reasons. And so, you know, you can't really...
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I was considering. I made this up in my head while you were talking.
Okay.
Wherever I share my life is where I share my wife. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good.
Okay, wait a minute.
Wherever I share my house is where I share my spouse.
Wherever I share my life.
So what I mean by that is like if I'm on social media and my platform is dedicated to sharing my life, my experiences,
I'm a part of
things
that.
happening in my house.
Yeah.
You are a part of that. You should be part of that.
Sense. Yeah.
If my business is not me sharing my life, if it's not a lifestyle type of business, I may not share my spouse. For instance, I have a media company. Big ups, Ty Francis Media. Check it out, tyfrancismedia.com. Video and photography, right? So you don't, if you were to go to my IG or you go to my website, if you scroll down the feed, there might be maybe one picture of you.
Yeah.
One of those was an actual photo shoot, which is like I'm sharing my work.
Yeah.
Not necessarily my spouse. Yes, this is my favorite muse, but this is my work. There may have been only one other post where I might have been giving you a shout out or something like that because that's business.
Yeah.
I'm sharing business.
Yes.
But when it comes to my personal page, it's lifestyle. It's all about dad. It's all about family. It's all about kids. It's all about marriage. You know what I mean? It's lifestyle. So it would be ridiculous for me not to share my wife if I'm sharing my life on that page.
That's true. Yeah.
If I go out as a guest speaker somewhere, if it is business, right, then I might not be sharing.
Hey guys, I'm married.
Yeah, like
here's a picture
just
of
in
my
case
wife.
anybody asks, you know what I mean?
This is more than enough proof. Like, look.
However, if it is a lifestyle type business situation, if the product that I'm selling is part of my lifestyle, then I think that that's very important that people know. Like that's a very.
What about in church?
Absolutely. Because that's lifestyle. If I ever go to be a guest speaker somewhere, that's something that I share right up front.
Yeah.
And not just like, hey, I'm married, so don't nobody try to be up in my face after this is over. I did go to a church one time where a pastor said that like right at the beginning. He was like, yeah, Pastor Ty Francis, and ladies, he is married. And I'm just thinking like, bro, you don't have to do that.
Ladies, he probably like, look, I'm just letting them know because they ready to be married.
Possibly, but for me that and I don't know how many people comes across his church that doesn't say that entertains it either. And so for me, I'm just like, that comes with the territory. Like that's part of my lifestyle. That comes out in my conversation. Because that is part of my kids come out in that why you always got to talk about your kids? Because they're part of my life. Like this is a lifestyle.
I love it.
The church and me being a pastor is a lifestyle. And so that comes out in it. And so, you got people who are just like, oh, well, this is my pastoral page. Yes, it is business. But even as a pastor, is your wife part of that? Right. You know what I mean? Is your spouse part of that? You know what I mean? Then it should be, then people should know at the very least, when your DMs are flooded with, if it's you, other guys or other females, at what point do you say, when somebody says, hey, you look nice. Yeah, my wife picked out this shirt. My wife bought this for me.
I've said that before, I think.
Simple things like that is just like, you already know. And then if people want to take it a step further, then it's like, are you entertaining it? Or is this where the conversation stops?
Block, delete. Get out my DMs.
You know what I'm saying? Like we got married and one of my boys was like, yeah, so how are you handling like all the DMs that you still get from girls? What DMs? You don't get none? I mean, it might have been a couple that came in. Do I entertain them? No. Right. So it's like it doesn't even exist. Maybe we can end on this last one because we got to get ready. Yeah, we definitely got to definitely got to close this out. How do you handle platonic friendships?
We all friends.
That was quick and that was easy.
We all friends.
That was quick and that was easy.
We all hanging out together. We all, like I get it. So if you had a really good friend that you grew up with that, you knew before you and I got together and got married, I would hope that, we would be able to all be friends. Yeah. And I feel like if they can respect the boundaries within our marriage,
definitely,
you can respect the boundaries within our marriage, then I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
But it's when you're having these sidebar conversations and then I catch wind of, oh yeah, I talked to such and such the other day. I was like, oh, you ain't tell me that, you had a conversation with this person.
That y'all been having a bunch of conversations. Or y'all went out for coffee or y'all want to catch up on a regular basis.
Jokes and things like that.
And it could be platonic,
straight platonic, no feelings there, but it's still like, because I like, even for myself, like I wouldn't want a guy friend, we're talking platonic friends of the opposite sex, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, we wouldn't want, I wouldn't have like this sidebar going with this other guy outside of my marriage. For me, it's just not a good look. Like, no, we all gonna be friends. And if my spouse have an issue with this person, then I got to create some space between them to say, hey, I know we used to hang out and talk like this and da-da-da-da, but now, I'm married, some things have to change.
And that can go a whole lot of different ways, obviously going back to the whole trust thing and history and past, especially if your platonic friend is somebody you either used to date.
Yeah.
Or ex.
Yeah, give me all the run
spouse,
show me the Carfax.
Or somebody show me the Carfax, bro.
Show me run the facts on them.
But let's just assume, because that can be all an infinite amount of different situations, but let's just assume it is pure.
Yeah.
Right? I think you said it already. Like if I got a platonic friend, then we all need to be cool.
We all need to be friends.
If I have a female friend, if you're not cool with my wife, me and you need to have a conversation about what this looks like. I'll even go this far. Even if I have another guy friend that has a problem with, bro, we can chill. Like, I'm cool hanging out with you, but I don't want to come to the crib because I don't really like your wife. I don't really click with her. Like, we don't really. That is a.
You don't need that person around you.
That is a similar problem.
Gosh, right.
Now, obviously, with a platonic friend, it's a little bit different only because this potentially could be somebody who could be creating a wedge because they wanted you for themselves. I know it's not always that, but it could end up being something different. Yeah. Where if things wasn't working out with us, now they the first one in line. Again, it's not always that way, but it could be. But one way that we personally always squash all of that is, hey, if you friends with my wife, we cool. Yeah. And I ain't talking about buddy, we go hang out all the time, but if at any given point, you know, you and a female friend of mine needed to hang out, like y'all could do that and I wouldn't need to be there. Right. And that would be okay. Yeah. If y'all could do that, then cool. If you can't hang out with my wife, apart from me being there, if y'all don't have a relationship with you guys, then we probably don't have a relationship either. I know that's strong. Yeah. I know that's hard.
Y'all tell us what you think about that. You know, I know everybody might feel differently about it.
There's a bunch of situations.
Hey, that's the way that you work and flow, but we're talking about what works for us.
This is what works for us.
Sharing some things. So
this is what works for us.
Don't come for our necks. Don't come for our necks.
Come for us. We want to know.
Unless you come in to just share your own personal.
Yeah, share your thoughts. We're open to it. Yeah. We thank you guys for tuning in, man. Yes. I hope that you guys got a lot from this episode. Yeah. And please let us know your thoughts. Married couples, let us know what works for you. Let us know some of the things that maybe don't work for you. If y'all got questions, please reach out to us and let us know, and we'd love to reply. So that we can answer some of those questions as well. We don't have it all together. Nope. We are not perfect. We figuring this thing out too, but I think that we have I can say confidently, I do believe that we have a healthy marriage. Yay. It ain't perfect, but it's
I do
healthy.
Believe
that it's healthy. Hallelujah. Just like my checkup last week. I ain't perfect, but I'm healthy. I saw some things that I need to change and fix.
We haven't talked about that yet, have we?
Maybe that could be our small talk for our next episode.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening or watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Love you guys. Bye.